Xavier, thank you. Well, locally, many of the cases are impacting senior living facilities. And across the state, we've seen hundreds of deaths in nursing homes. Now, Governor Abbott has a new order to protect those communities. Janelle Ford explains.
Well, yeah, Steph, this is something that hits very close to home for me. My 96-year-old grandmother is in a nursing home in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they've been on lockdown since early March. Here in Texas, long-term care residents make up about 47% of all coronavirus-related deaths. So for those of us who do have loved ones in that vulnerable population, reopening the state amid the COVID-19 pandemic creates a lot of anxiety. One of the big pieces of Governor Abbott's plan to reopen is making sure testing is widely available. The governor has directed the Texas Health and Human Services Commission, Texas Division of Emergency Management, and the Texas Department of State Health Services to test every resident and staffer at Texas nursing homes. This order comes after a suggestion from the White House yesterday. Let's get into the numbers. As of yesterday, they have received reports of 281 nursing facilities and 100 assisted living facilities in Texas with one or more COVID-19 confirmed positive residents and or facility staff. HHSC has received reports of 425 resident deaths related to coronavirus in nursing facilities and 89 resident deaths in assisted living facilities located in Texas. There are 1,224 licensed nursing facilities and 2,004 licensed assisted living facilities statewide, and there is no timeline on when testing will be completed. Back to you.